If you go radial with things, that's okay. You just have to make sure that the actual radialness of that model gets sent inwards a lot more first. Sorry, I think my normals are still turned on. Yeah. Go to object mode here. You know, let your cylinder have some subdivisions in there that take the triangles to a center point where they're not hurting anything. And then the rest of the mesh can kind of work together. Get a soft select in there and kind of pull some of those shapes out, whatever it is you're working with. Or, you know, again, it's not always best to grab like a cylinder and start just like tugging on it. You may want to do some extrusions for shapes like this, where it's like, yeah, that's more of like a little finger that's extruding off. It's better for me to grab that shape and soft select, extrude it out. Maybe do some stuff like this here. And that way the geometry, you know, works together still. And there's still some dividing points in there that control the model. I'm still, you know, I'm not too familiar with this model shape. But yeah, I mean, you see how the geometry is still keeping control of itself over here, and not being triangulated excessively. And sometimes, you know, if you're really working on something like this, and it's like, okay, I have the silhouette down, everything on the inside looks like garbage though, and I need to fix that, then make that conscious decision to like extruded it, I think. Something happened. Why won't you grab the whole thing? Yeah. I don't know why that, okay. This should make a loop now. There we go. Make the conscious decision to grab like that silhouette, and then just hold shift and grab the inverse of it and just delete the interior. And just start over on that then. You know, if that's what it takes, fill the hole up and, you know, find some areas that are not good geometry like this. And we can do a little poke in there. Probably, you know, one more over here somewhere. Just grab these guys and just poke them. Even that can work better for you. But if you see that things are causing problems and you're getting these triangles like that, you gotta, you know, have some better control over the geometry there. This guy's, you know, another thing too is, you know, those edges don't have like a bevel to help out with that rounding there, to help out with the pulling. So get yourself a bevel, put some, you know, holding edges in there if this is still the high res. And then we're gonna get a more comfortable looking shape. If some of this stuff is not holding out and it's rounding out too much, then yeah, we can get another holding edge in here. I can just like grab this and multi-cut it and give me some little holding edge corners. Or I can just grab this and deselect it at this point here, and we can do a bevel here. That's another thing that'll work. Let me collapse this edge so I'm not making an end-gon there. A little bevel on the edge, and that's gonna hold the edge. This guy's gonna have to tuck in too, so I need to extrude inwards, pull it down, and make that little forced bevel there too, so it looks like the model. Probably need another holding edge in here. See it, you know, if that model's resting on something, then it's at least casting a shadow there, right? This, I mean, this shape too is probably not a difficult shape to extrude off of that. I think you can get that done. I could probably send like a loop like this down here and do some selecting and kind of make this flat, you know, straighter. If I just move these things evenly. Grab some faces and extrude it. If it's got a little bit of a slope to it, we'll put that slope in there. Probably less than that. Bevel it up. The connection probably needs to get beveled too. So you don't want this stuff just coming out at a 90-degree angle. You definitely don't want these guys to be like super pointy either. Put some bevels in there. See if it'll help round things out a little bit. Let me bevel this first. Have some control over it. Yeah, now let's grab the whole edge loop. Do a bevel there. I mean, honestly, I'm just not seeing these shapes come together. You know, this is very sharp. When, you know, these need to blend together a lot more. There really is just a lot that's falling short on this model. And this was what I warned everybody about with weapons like this, because you guys see them pretty simple, but there's a lot going on here. And they're very identifiable. I gave you, you know, the stuff that I want you guys to pick is identifiable stuff for a lot of people. And that's the point. That's the challenge, is that if you can make something that looks real, that is real, then you're doing a good job. If you're making something that people don't understand what model weapon that is or why that feature looks like that, then you're gonna leave people stumped. And if you can sell this model off without showing anybody a reference image of what you're working with, then you're doing it the right way. I'm wondering if your trigger housing is a little bit too large in proportion. You might need to shrink that down a little bit. I feel like it might be a little bit too large, or maybe it's just too rigid looking. I'm not certain. But even these shapes, like, you're getting thinner in here. When this thing has an even thickness from this point to this point, it's only when it starts connecting to the actual pistol the things get thinner. So, I mean, very lumpy and very, you know, changing in the thickness there. I'm not entirely confident with this model right now, Antonio, to be honest with you. Here's that triangulation stuff. You know, if you triangulate your stuff like that, it's gonna cut corners. So yeah, if you guys are using like the triangulation tool, or if you're just exporting with triangulate turned on, it can give you some nasty stuff and you won't know it. If you're gonna do triangulation, make sure you do it here in Maya. Use the triangulate tool. Go to mesh and triangulate. And do it yourself and see if there's any errors in that. Honestly though, I don't like seeing triangulation. I can still see the wireframe for what it is. I just know that, you know, once something's triangulated, I lose a lot of customization options there. And then I can't go through and slide edge loops or anything like that anymore. The model's pretty much locked in. You know, there's still, you know, this guy that I modeled over here has a lot of geometry that still needs to get cleaned up. So I'm not saying that this is the perfect thing in the world, because it's definitely not. I may want to collapse some edges together. That wasn't too good looking. Why did it do that? Is this thing detached? Okay, so maybe I'll just. Oh yeah, I got some geometry here that's just not snapped together very well. Let me just take you over here. Sometimes you just gotta merge some vertices together too. Maybe that gets the job done. Bevels are gonna give you some nasty stuff here and there, so you gotta be careful with it. Something, yeah, there's two guys here. That's what's going on. Sometimes it helps to put things in 3 mode. Like I said, this whole face, I can probably just collapse it to a vertice there. And maybe that's going too far. I don't know. I could definitely collapse these guys together though. That's better.